Okay, start. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Scott and Ohio Kopitiam proudly presents World War II. Okay, forget that. So basically, today we are going to talk about World War II, and we would be focusing on three things. Tiga perkara. Instead of just going through everything in 1 hour, we just focus on three things. And our timeline will be 1937, that is the Japanese invasion of China, until 1941, which is Operation Barbarossa, which you know later. It's a very interesting operation. So three things that we'll focus about is World War II background. So that's one, World War II background, whereby we'll be talking about World War I settlement, the Great Depression, and the rise of Hitler and the National Socialists, which is also known as the Nazis. And then secondly, we'll be talking about the operations from 1937 and 1941. Operations as in the military operations, because the class that I'm taking, World War II, is a military history. So it will be more on a military perspective and also historical. So we'll be talking about Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Norway, France, Britain, Soviet Union, China, and Pearl Harbor. And if we have time, we focus on the not so well-known region in this part of the world, which is Southeast Asia. And thirdly, we'll be talking about Operation Barbarossa. If you notice, all the countries just now I put in the second sub-chapter, but the Barbarossa I put a special chapter on it because I think it is very interesting, very important, and in my opinion, it is this operation that decided the outcome of the war, Barbarossa, Baba and Rosa.
I know Baba, but not Rosa.
Yeah, you don't know anything, one. Okay, anyway, actually Barbarossa, just to let you know it's a code name, Operation Barbarossa. You know, every military operation they have a code name. Like, Iraq War, they have I think it's OIL, Operation Liberation something, and then they realized that Operation Iraqi Liberation, but then they realized that OIL is actually oil, so they changed it to OIK or something, whatever. So Freudian motive.
Wasn't it Operation Desert Storm?
That one is earlier one. That one is Saddam Hussein, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that one is the first one. So, I was saying Operation Barbarossa is code name of Barbarossa is a former Holy Roman Emperor. So, they want to revive the great glory. Hitler, they want to revive the great glory. So, and then in that part, we'll be talking about Joseph Stalin's Great Purge, which will be very interesting. And then Hitler's ideology, why he want to invade Russia. So that time, Soviet Union and why both of them actually underestimate each other severely. Hitler underestimated Stalin's Soviet Union, and Soviet Union also underestimated Hitler, which resulted in a lot of people being killed. And then we talk about winter warfare. If we have time, we will be talking about Southeast Asia too during World War II. So we're talking about Malaya and Singapore, and we have Indonesian perspective here and Singaporean perspective, I guess. So he can tell us more about it. I actually want to move the final solution, which is also known as the Holocaust, to another session, simply because I have watched some very good movies about it, like Poe. So I think we should move it to a movie screening, if can. So we watch the movie, then we talk about it, and then because I realize that it might be a sensitive issue, and then it's better to talk about it in a separate setting. Okay. So, what are the three things that we're going to talk about today?
Barbarossa.
Okay. Not bad. Then, what is the other two more? Background. Okay, not bad.
Hitler.
That one included in background.
37 to 41.
Operation. You tengok slide tak ada lah. Okay, so that's the three things. That's the purpose. Before we begin, a word of caution on historical studies. There's this thing known as historian's fallacy, which is also known as hindsight bias. This is the main reason why I don't like this book, because the journalists really condemn Chamberlain. He really condemned all the why these people, okay, I mean in my terms why all these people so stupid, never realized Hitler was up that time, very bad, crazy, why they all listen to him. this is all actually historian fallacy, because at that time, the people living there at that time do not have the information that we have at this time. So we might think it's a very easy decision to make now, but not to those people back then. So we must keep in mind about this historian fallacy. Another thing also is non-expert views. So I'm not expert, we are not expert. So I would definitely not do justice to this topic. So I just put it out, depan mata ni dulu, supaya we will not do justice to the topic lah, basically. I encourage you, if you are interested, to look it up on internet and all that, if you are interested. And lastly, second last, there's also thing as victors, like history is written by the winners. So you keep that in mind also. See all this book that we have here. This one is written by British, American, British. So we don't have a proper perspective from the Germans, except Mein Kampf, which is written by Hitler. But I have yet to read that book, because actually that book is, like politicians write their own biography, they exaggerate their stuff. So I think it's better to read an academic perspective first, then only read Mein Kampf. We can do a separate session on that lah. But just to let y'all know, whatever we say about Hitler and all that, it might be one-sided. Might. Lastly, which is very important, in my opinion, truth is provisional. Provisional means something stays as the truth as long as there's no new evidence against it. So that means we can say that Asafa Power was the world's fastest runner until Usain Bolt came and became the world's fastest man. So the previous truth is no longer the truth. So you get what I mean? I say this because it's history and whatever knowledge that we have might be just a balance of probability. Why do I say that? Let's say evidence right now of Hitler is crazy is 0.9. A balance of probability lah, 0 to 1. Hitler crazy is 0.9, which is very high probability. But if some evidence come up that Hitler is not crazy, then that probability reduced to 0.5 or 0.4. So it is never a 0 or 1 thing, in my opinion. So whatever we know here is just provisional, and it might change if we have new evidence about it. Okay? Just to let you know. So World War II background. Very interesting. Oh, Danlin, can you be the timekeeper?
I say something about World
Because I think something like that, timekeeper, and then maybe Levine can be moderated. If I moderator / gatekeeper, if I get out of topic, then just let me know. Yeah, most probably I'll go out of topic one lah. So World War II background. So just remind me maybe every 15 minutes lah. Yeah, because this one is very long, and then I also don't want to go through it very fast. But at the same time, if I don't do it fast, then we would be very, very long. Stay here forever. Okay, so World War II background, World War I settlement. I'll talk about this mostly from the German perspective, because German is the one that, so to speak, started the war in Europe. Do you all remember about Treaty of Versailles or Versailles or whatever? So difficult to pronounce this French name. Yeah, what do you all remember about it? Sejarah, come on, SPM.
Kenapa dengan sejarah?
Kau sejarah pun tak tahu apa. So Treaty of Versailles yang World War I tu dah habis, and then Jerman dah kalah, then they sign.
Saya atas kapal tu.
Kapal lah kat awak. Weh, lu ingat apa? Pulau Pangkor punya perjanjian.
Janjian Pangkor.
Okay, so basically Treaty. What?
The couple is Japanese, what? Okay, you carry on.
So in yeah, exactly.
Is it like they divide the nation?
Yeah. So basically, it's a Versailles means it's a place lah. Basically, it's a palace, I think. Then basically World War I, German dah menang. German dah kalah. And then like the British and all that, they win, right? So they all gather, the winners gather, and then they talk, negotiation lah. Okay, how do we settle this? It's a treaty lah, basically. But German was unrepresented at the Versailles, which makes it very complicated later because since they are not represented at the meeting to negotiate the outcome, so a lot of things is not from their side. I mean, although they lose, yes, but if you don't include them in the negotiation, if you put too harsh punishment, you will only create Nazi, which actually happened. So that's why World War II, after the Allies win, they actually rebuilt Germany. Instead of punish them, right, US and everything, they actually channel a lot of money to Europe, to German and Japan. That's why you see it's actually quite amazing, like how German and Japan, although they were very against UK and stuff last time, but they are now very close because they help them build the economy after that, because they know that if they punish them again, you become like this again. I mean, we'll talk about that later. So basically, summary is Germany actually lost a lot of territory. I think 13% of their territory. So you imagine Malaysia and 14 states, and then you cut off lah. That's okay, from Pahang maybe cut off. Okay, there's no more Malaysia, something like that lah. I mean, this is a very rough example lah, but just to give you a mental picture. And Germany was also asked to pay huge reparation, like he said. So they had to pay reparation, like the cost for the war. Like France, they lost a lot of people, the economy was damaged, and Germany has to pay. So Germany was in a lot of debt, and then their army was downsized a lot. I think maybe to just 100,000. So the Germany are not allowed to have air force. No standing army. No standing army basically. This is actually the same for Japan after World War II. Yeah. So there's the Germany part. So of course Germany was very angry at that time. We can talk about it when I talk about Hitler. And then in Russia, there's this thing called Bolshevik Revolution. You know anything about it?
And it's basically just a revolution down from bottom up. That created Soviet movement. That was during 1980.
Yeah. So Russia was in World War I, but their rulers is so ineffective and cruel, and their army suffered huge defeats. So what happened was the people rise and overthrow the ruler. It's just like the French Revolution, and this Bolshevik Revolution allows the communists to rise. So basically, you have people that are influenced by Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin. And then since from then on after that, Stalin becomes the dictator, so to speak, after the revolution and after a few years and all that. If you read George Orwell's Animal Farm or 1984, he is talking about Russia's Bolshevik Revolution and what Stalin did basically. Basically Stalin, we talk about it later also, basically Stalin, he revolution, right? And after that, he get the power, he kicked out all his partners in the revolution last time one. Counter-revolutionaries because he want to cemented his place in the power. So many people actually think that the revolution was kind of wasted because the ideals that a lot of people fight and die for, Stalin just completely make them tak berjaya, something like that, because he just focused on dictatorship and all that. So he did not live up to Lenin's ideal communism and Marx's communism, of course, which is severely misunderstood by Malaysians, I think. So World War I picked this from Wikipedia, which be cautious about it. 10 million military casualty and 7 million civilian casualty. 10 million and 7 million. That's half of Malaysians' population. Yeah, so just have that number in mind. So when your people lose, when your country lost so many people, now you understand why a lot of countries don't want to fight Hitler at the first place, when they could have fight Hitler in 1937 or 1938, but they didn't fight. In fact, they pursued this policy called appeasement. Some of you might heard it, appeasement. We'll have a slide on that also, because they lost so much people, especially France. That's why they don't want to fight anymore. Okay. Oh, they also created a League of Nations, the predecessor to United Nations, which was a failure. You want to explain why? No, yeah, go ahead. I like people talk.
I'll add in after you talk.
Okay lah. So basically, League of Nations is similar to United Nations, but it failed because no country want to live up to the commitment that they give. Let's say like okay, we are League of Nations. We agree that okay, if Levine is invaded, if Levine is robbed is invaded, so we will rush in to help protect her. But when that happened, Kanan and I not willing to do that because we fear for our own, we don't have the resources. Our economy also bad. Want to help, whatever she die lah. And second thing also is United States is the one who proposed this in League of Nations. The Woodrow Wilson, the president of the United States at that time, he proposed this. But Congress in US, which is like the parliament in Malaysia, did not approve it. The sentiment in US at that time was isolationism, was susah to pronounce. So basically they say that we should not intervene in other Europe's affair, we just stay out. So that's a very strong movement at that time. So if you want to understand why US is so bothered to intervene in every political affairs in this century, you might want to trace back to World War II. Because in World War II, post World War I, basically, they just they isolate themselves. They don't want to intervene in countries' affairs. And then they see that all these things happens. So after that, they become very interventionist. So if there's a conflict that arises, we must stop it while it's still not very bad, serious. So we must contain.
That also has to do with globalization, where the US has so much interest in other countries, so that it cannot afford to let other countries fall into chaos. Its business would suffer. So that's one of the other reasons why they changed their stance into interventionist.
Yeah, that's really true. I have some pictures here, so I'm not sure if you guys can see it. This is talking about the Great Depression. This is a very famous photograph, actually.
A girl?
Yeah, this is in US, I think, Arizona or something. So the Great Depression. Have you all heard? Yeah, you want to talk about it?
No, I haven't heard.
Oh, you just read here. Check. So basically, the Great Depression is actually the worst economic crisis, maybe ever, maybe in the 20th century.
In modern history.
Yeah, in modern history, it's really bad. It started from Wall Street market crash. Stock market crash, and then after that, people just panic. Like what happened in 2007, 2008, right? Something fell, and then you want to take out your money and all that. And then if everybody take out their money, then habis lah.
Banks lose their money and then they cannot pay their debts, and then everything just.
Yeah, and then companies started to cut down all the jobs, reduce production.
It goes into a vicious cycle, which just like you get rid of jobs, you get rid of incomes, you get rid of people buying stuff, and then the companies would downsize more, and then it just goes in a cycle.
Yeah. So basically, the Great Depression, kind of originated from US, and after that it spread to all the world basically. Even Malaysia was affected, I think. 1929 happened, the Black Tuesday. You all can Google that, Black Tuesday. And then it reached most of the world in 1930s, and then it carried out until the end of World War II, basically. So you have huge unemployment, like 30%. Imagine 30% of the country unemployed, and people just no money to buy stuff. This is of our interest in Germany's case. If you can see here, the children are playing with, I think, gold or cash money, paper money, because the money becomes so worthless, you cannot buy anything. Huh? You want you think what Monopoly? Okay, so this is a graph. I think he would know that. This is a graph. Show that. Okay, maybe some of you cannot see. So let's say this is example ni 1922 let's say your bread costs you 1,000 German dollar, or I forgot what's the currency. But then after the Great Depression, you see the graph just go up. Your bread become what, 10,000, 100,000, because your money is so worthless.
Hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation.
Which is happening in some African countries now, like
Zimbabwe.
Somalia.
Indonesia?
Not so bad lah. Not so bad lah.
It's alright. It's like mostly the African countries, like Ethiopia. I think not recently anymore, but their currency is basically worthless. Like they need barrels of money to buy basic stuff, and it changes, fluctuates every day, and it just basically goes back to barter trade. People just discard their money because it's worthless.
In Zimbabwe, actually, people are resorting to getting gold, minute amounts of gold, because it's pointless. You have millions of dollars, Zimbabwean dollars, that means nothing.
It's not worth anything.
Indonesia is not so bad.
So, yes, both Alex and Sam are really correct. So your money is worthless, so you cannot buy anything. So the people very desperate, and you know, there's this thing that I always think about. I think it's in the next slide, maybe. Yeah, okay. Some people think that Hitler is crazy. Basically, they think Hitler is crazy and, you know, Nazis and all that. Then they just brush it aside, you know. Okay, this guy is crazy or whatever. All this bad thing happened because of him. But to us, when we study something, like study of history especially, it's not helpful to just stop there. If he's really crazy, why would people accept him? Why people are so willing to give him their full support and kill 10 million people? Or maybe just put all the Jews in concentration camps. I mean, what makes that happen? And if we understand what makes that happen, maybe, just maybe, we can notice our own patterns in our own times. The same patterns that led to Hitler's rise in our own times. You know, it's very easy to say that Hitler is bad and all that, but do you know who is the Hitler in this era? Who is the Hitler among us? Yeah. This is a very serious thing to think about, actually. Like, I mean, you should be able to detect the patterns, especially in historian lah. Like, there's this historian Farish Noor in our country. He's a Malaysian lah. He said, like, you know, all these things I've seen it too many times lah. The decline of society and all that. We study history, we see the patterns, we know where we are going already. So, especially in Malaysia's case, you can think about it lah.
So are you saying that history repeats itself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So how his history is okay. That one is another topic. Okay. So anyway, keep that in mind. And we were talking about Hitler in very fast. I think. Okay, rise of Hitler. Let's show Hitler. This is Hitler, very young boyish. And guess what is this?
His house. His what? His house?
He's a painter.
Tried to
Yeah. He's a painter.
but he was rejected 3 times.
So Hitler's father and okay, too long already. One cut. So basically, Hitler was born into quite a well-to-do family. Actually, the father was a custom officer. Custom as in those immigration stuff, right? He was born in Austria, actually, modern day Austria. And then his father died. He was close to his mother. His mother was probably the only one he ever had real human relation, like love. And
his dog.
okay, that one later. Okay, then his siblings, he was not very close to them. He was taken care by an auntie. He basically didn't really have to work for his life because his father actually left quite a sum of money to him. Hitler is a very idiosyncratic, like very unique, like different boy. Even as he grew up, he's very sensitive. He likes to listen to Wagner opera, right? Wagner, Wagner. Wagner. Oh. Yeah, Wagner. So Wagner is actually quite a good composer and all that, so you can listen.
His ideology is so messed up.
Yeah.
Wagner, he misinterpreted Marx and everything. Just
So the Wagner, there's one of his favorite lah. Hitler's favorite is Lohengrin. Lohengrin is like basically Hitler always like this grand stuff, Like he believed that Germany should be grand. His people too, although that time not that radical yet. Hitler is he's totally unlike us. He doesn't mind it maybe just fruits or something for his meals, and then he just buy tickets standing to watch the opera and all that. Even in his youth, he is already very different from other people. And as Alex said just now, he believed that he would be a great artist, he would be a great painter, and he don't want to find job and all that, he just want to focus on that, and he went to Vienna, yeah, to enter the Academy of Fine Arts, which at that time is really prestigious, right, I think. Hitler was so confident that he will go there, and he doesn't even think that the possibility of him being rejected. So to enter that academy, you have two tests. One is your application filter already, right? So if okay, pass lo. Second, they'll ask you to exam, so-called exam. Yeah, you draw something maybe and then they evaluate. First time Hitler applied, he passed the first one. Second one, he did. He's so confident, he go back his house, relax lah. Tengok he tak dapat. He was so like frustrated lah. Then he hide it from his family and friends because he hurt his pride and ego. And after that, he just kind of disappeared, or it was really life-changing for him at that moment, because I think at that time, around that time, like, he actually lost his mother too. His mother died. So that two blow events actually hit him really badly lah. And then I think a year later, he applied again at the academy, and this time he didn't even make it past the first application, and he was really want to look for a scapegoat lah. That he want to find an excuse. And I think that in this slide also we talk about how Hitler is partly a social creation. He's not just a crazy dude lah. He's partly a social creation of the Germany at that time, and specifically Vienna. The historian who wrote this book actually attributed Vienna, as a major cause of why Hitler became who he is. Vienna at that time was very anti-Semitic. They really hate the Jews, like really hate the Jews. There's this legend, if you have time you can Google it. There's this legend called, I don't know how to say it in German, but it's called stab in the back myth, like a mythology, right? Stab in the back myth. So basically, this is first proposed by a right-wing politician. I think his name is Ludendorff, but a lot of Germans actually believe that. So they believe that the German army did not lose in World War I. The German army was never defeated in battlefield. They believe that they lost because someone stabbed them in the back. And that someone is the Jews, is the November criminals, which is the people who became the Weimar Republic. I mean, Weimar Republic is the one who, the government at this time, after World War I. So before Hitler and all that. So they have a government at that time, which is very unpopular, unfortunately. And Hitler read all the newspaper, magazine that was around that time, and he was influenced by all these people. And in fact, his idea actually are not new. You might think that, oh, Hitler is the one who started this anti-Semitic thing. Actually, he just picked it up from some of the already prevalent ideologies that are around. It just so happens, luckily or not, I mean not to say luckily or not, but so coincident or not, that he is the one who puts it into implementation, what is already said by a lot of people at that time. So you can see the picture here. This is a quite famous stab in the back legend. Okay, so we'll just go through very short about Hitler during this time. So basically, he failed to get into the academy, and then World War I happened, and then he enlisted lah. Actually, since he was born in Austria, he's supposed to be part of the Austrian army, right? But he did not want to, so he actually moved to one of the city in province in German, and he became part of the German army. He was Lance Corporal.
He was not high rank.
Yeah, like Lance Corporal lah. And he is actually not directly involved in combat experience. His job is more to, for the lack of better term, it's a postman lah. You hantar message here and there. But he did see some, attack and all lah. And cut the story very short, he was actually partly blinded, temporarily blinded, and he was put in a hospital, and and then he learned that German lost the war, and he couldn't believe it. That really couldn't believe it, because actually German army is very good actually. It just happens that they lost, and immediately he and a lot of other Germans find a scapegoat. Legend, start in the bad legend who actually made us lose. The German army is not defeated in battlefield, so who is the people? It's the Jews, it's the November criminals, it's the weak Germans who stabbed us in the back at home because they did not support the military. It's those weak leaders and all the Jews, businessmen, and all that, who did not give us their full financial support, moral support, everything. That was not correct actually, because there's tens of thousands of Jews actually died for Germany in the World War I. And cut the story short, so he returned. The war is over. Since he was in the army last time, he was given this job to, well, in modern day we would say spy and monitor the political parties in Germany. And he attended this one conference, like ceramah so to speak, our term There's this party, he's supposed to spy them, but he feel connected to their ideas, and he joined the party, and surprisingly he proved very adept at politics, and in just a few years he became the leader of that party. That party is the National Socialists, which is also known today as the Nazis. The Nazis actually legal, really, they won an election actually. But before that, he actually, when he became the leader of the Nazi party, there's this thing called beer hall push. Susah nak pronounce, yeah. But basically, you can also substitute with Munich push. Okay, Nanny, how to pronounce this? P-U-T-S. Okay, so let's just say that this beer hall push happened, whereby he actually led the Nazi and their supporters, they march on street, so to speak. Not many people actually, 3,000 maybe, 5,000. And they demanded that the government in Berlin should be overthrown. And they just held the place for 1 or 2 days before the full force of the authority clamped them down and Hitler was jailed. This thing actually made him very popular, because the Weimar Republic government is already not popular, and he is seen as someone who stood up against them and all that. And it just is quite for a politician to go to jail might be a good thing actually, it will make you famous and all that, right? So this is actually what happened He was jailed 1920 something, and then he came out a few years later, because he got the people's support and he got a lot of supporters actually. He's not alone. And when he was jailed, he actually wrote Mein Kampf which is his autobiography. Mein Kampf basically is translated into my struggle. So actually he speak people write for him. So Hitler is actually a very, 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 very good public speaker. If you have time, or maybe if you have time later, can YouTube his public speaking. There's this journalist from one of the Western countries They actually went to look at Hitler's ceramah, and they just want to, they are actually against Hitler, but they just go there and they just want to see what's happening. And after they came out of the ceramah, what they say was, I feel like I am one of the Nazis now. You're just spellbound, really pro. The way he speaks.
Hitler is a very charismatic person.
Mm-hmm. You see his public speaking, he always really semangat, you especially in German that time, you are so desperate, you were really uplifted, and he will touch you basically, he will motivate you and all that. That's why so many people are for him at that time. Not to say all So basically, cut the story short again, he was released, and then there's this election. There's a lot of elections at that time, mind you, actually. He did not just win one election, because the government was so unstable. There's a lot of infighting. The politics is very unstable. In one of the elections, he won. His party won substantial amount of votes, Therefore, some historians actually say that the Nazis are elected democratically, which in some sense is true, in some sense are not, because firstly, they did not win majority votes. It's like maybe they win 30% of the vote, 30% of the seats maybe. Not all the Germans supported him. Secondly, his party, as well as other parties, use how to say, like, not so good methods lah. Basically, threaten, torture. The Nazis, even back then, they are known for their SS. Yeah, underhand methods. Yeah, SS. You all know about SS, right?
It's kind of like the KGB. You know KGB? Yeah.
CIA.
So
Not so
gonna
much
talk
CIA,
about that.
but
Not yet. But yeah, like the KGB for the Soviets, SS is like what?
Yeah.
It's a,
What does SS stand for?
actually a German term, but yeah.
Secret Service.
Yeah, Secret Service, something like that lah. The SS would be very powerful later on, very influential. They are the one who like directed all the concentration camp and all that. Very very powerful. Heinrich Himmler. Yeah, he was one of the ketua lah for SS. Yeah, if you all Google about it later, you'll find a lot of interesting things of SS. So basically, again, I go off topic. So Hitler became the vice chancellor, which is like prime minister, and very interesting. If the war had just started, at night before the September 1939, if history just stopped there, Hitler actually would have been considered a hero in today's world. What he did after he became vice chancellor, 1933 maybe, until 1938 like that, is actually quite amazing. He actually brought Germany out of the desperate state they are in. And that's also another reason why people are so supportive of him. He brings results, You can see the difference. Like last time, the politicians keep fighting among themselves. The economy is bad, everything is bad. Then Hitler became vice chancellor, and of course through some tactics, he stabilized the thing.
can I also add something?
Yeah.
I think in order to understand it even better, you have to look at World War I and before World War I. Instead of Europe at that point in time, before World War I, it's always a constant state of war.
Yeah.
People are always expecting war, and like, when is the next war going to happen? And then at that period of time, before World War I, there was rapid industrialization, rapid militarization. We were getting modern weapons, Gatling guns, whatever. And then finally, it got to a point where it just needed a catalyst to break the killing of the army, which is not really, whatever, right? And then so Germany eventually lost, but people blame Germany for it, like Britain, France, everybody was like, why did Germany pay for this? When really, it's not really technically Germany's fault, it's everybody's fault. Which is why everyone is so sad with the government, so upset with what they have to deal with post World War I, therefore leading to the First Rise.
I also want to add something. Some historians, I always use the word some because I forgot the name. The Weimar Republic, to be fair, actually, some people say that they actually curbed some of the inflation that occurred after World War I, right? So Germany had to pay a lot of reparation. The Weimar Republic, sometimes when you look at all these Anwar or Najib lah, BRIM or turunkan harga minyak lah, all this very populist policy, subsidy. Economically speaking, subsidy is not very good. Not good actually, not at all. Okay. The Weimar Republic took very unpopulist actions. You can see that in Greece today also, when the financial thing, right?
But they took those actions, but in the wrong time. If the economy was slightly better at that point, then they probably wouldn't have, probably wouldn't have fallen that bad. But the economy was that bad, and they still took those measures, and people were too desperate. Hitler came up and inspired.
Yeah. I just want to add something in between that. What you say is absolutely true. It's just that when the Weimar was formed 1918, 1919, right? So they actually took the policies, and then it actually has some results. The economy is improving, but the Great Depression happened in 1929, 1930s, and that brought the whole thing down again. And then it was really bad because the policy that already in place would worsen the economy at that time. So it's like 50-50 lah. They did try something, and then the economy was slightly better, and then Great Depression happens, which is totally unlucky lah for them. So that's the last word about Weimar Republic. Okay, so basically, when I read about Hitler, this period very interest me, because how he do it, how he bring Germany out this state. We can have a very long theory about that, but a short one, and maybe not so true one, would be that he focused on war economy. So he basically, like all these treaty or Versailles that the previous leaders signed with the Allies, World War I, okay, forget about it lah. I won't care. It's not me who signed it. So he rearmed the army. He rebuilt the war economy. So they are not supposed to do that. Like Alex said, it's not, cannot have standing army, production and of the military stuff, right? But he just did it, and he signed economic deal with the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union will provide them raw materials, and I think he also provided them something. But actually, the Soviet Union provided them a lot more stuff than they did lah. Political stability-wise, how he did it is interesting also. So there's this Reichstag. Reichstag is the parliament, right, Alex? Reichstag. Yeah, kinda like here. So can you just imagine the Reichstag, the parliament? So one day, got bomb attack happened there. Who do one lah? Maybe terrorists or something lah. So basically, Hitler just persuaded the president, like let's say Agong lah. So Hitler persuaded the president to give him emergency power. So what he do was declare emergency, and from then on he just assumed full power, political stability. So he just arrests those who don't agree with him, and a lot of people get punished lah, basically. Especially the political left. So Hitler is a right wing fascist lah, so to speak. Left is his opposite punya ni. So he hates capitalism and communism. He hates capitalists and communists lah, basically. Communist for him is on the far left, capitalist is also on the left. So he hates liberals and all that. So basically, those who disagree with him, put in jail, shoot to death. So now you understand like why people are fully support him, because people that don't support him don't exist anymore. Yeah, that's what happened.
I'd like to say something about his war economics. That time, like World War II really showed that war economics was the best way to come out of Great Depression. Not only Germany but also US. They were hit really bad by war. The economic. But then, when Roosevelt started rolling for the war, and so much jobs get offered because you enroll for the army.
Everybody got paid, and they weren't complaining because they were fighting a war. So no one was like fighting for more money, and the top class weren't trying to like squeeze everything out. Everyone was kind of like cooperative, so the economy got better.
And you needed production to get work. Like not only the soldiers, but because you were building guns and tanks and weapons and ammunition, so much more people got jobs and got paid, and you needed to boost production. After the war ended, all this production kept going on, and it became a lucrative business. So war was the solution to the Great Depression, definitely.
Okay, so Hitler was very ideologically driven, and if you have seen my Facebook post last time, I put that an ideology can kill millions of people, which is true actually. I actually, when I read about this, I feel very scared actually, because it's really true, and you were completely blinded by ideology. You would be completely blinded if you support an ideology. Like, it just scares me like your politics. Although I'm political science major, one of his ideology is the iron super race one. I'm sure you all heard about it, right? So iron is it's a what is the term? Darwinist, social Darwinist, the survival of the fittest. So iron are the fittest, and also he thinks that the Slavs, which are the Russia, Soviet Union area, the East European, are kind of subhuman species, and he thinks that all those Western powers are very weak, like spineless people, like the leader, they did not dare to stand up against him, And he also think Lebensraum, which is a German term, I'm sure I pronounced that wrongly, which it means living space. He believed that the great people of German, he believed the great people of German needs more living space. Therefore, he will conquer the East, like as in Russia, Soviet Union, and they will make all those people work as slaves for their economy.
So yeah, he's basically just like taking their land, starving them, or making them slaves, and helping, like making them produce more food for their own people, and starving the natives.
One more thing is, as all this happened, right, in Germany, you can already see the beginning of the final solution, which is the Holocaust. The Holocaust is actually the final step. There's already beginning already since he came to power. Basically, ever since, like, people can just terrorize, like they can just terrorize the Jewish businessmen, because Jews at the time owned businesses a lot, and people would just terrorize them, like throw glass and all that into their building at night, make fire. I mean, kebakaran lah, so to speak. And the police will not do anything because the police are either keep a blind eye or they actually the one who doing it. And SS was very influential, and all this will proceed step by step. The Holocaust does not happen in one step, but then this goes step by step. First like that. Secondly, he asked all the Jews to wear a red star, like the David star, to identify themselves as Jews. It's just like those.
Yellow for Jews, and then got like purple or something for gays, and like different colors for different people.
Actually, not just Jews are actually under attack by the Hitler regime. It's also disabled people, like even German people,
Get stars.
And
basically everyone other than the Ions get stars, and you have to wear it like it's a law. You have to wear it on your shirt, on your clothing.
And finally, all that lead to concentration camps, whereby they just run off all these people, pack them in trains. There are actually real documentary on that, like real footage. And there's a new home that awaits all these people, and there's the concentration camp. Okay, so finally we get to the war after so long. Okay, I'm not sure how to go about this because this is really long, but then, okay, I'll try that and then we see how we go. So basically, the European theatres would start in Austria, start so to speak. And then some people, the beginning of World War II is very arbitrary. No historian actually agree on where it start. Like let's say, okay, I want to give stupid example, but better not. So basically, some people think it started when Italians invade Ethiopia. Some people think it started when Japanese invade China. Some people, Manchuria, that's even long. Some people think generally, like the general view one is Poland, the German invasion of Poland. Too bad you cannot see this, but maybe some of you can. This is the World War map at 1938, I think.
Where is this?
This is Germany. This is Czechoslovakia. All this used to be Austria-Hungary. Then World War I, they pecah-pecahkan the thing, which makes Germany very angry. I mean, Germany is here, Czechoslovakia, Austria, Poland mana? Poland here, USSR here. This is England, UK, France is here. So, Germany would start by taking over Austria. How they do it is very smart, so to speak.
It's like a new thing, like he kind of get like the opinions of the people staying there, and like most of them wanted to be German, so he just took Austria back, essentially.
Yeah, actually it's very smart. No blood is lost during that one. Because remember World War I, out of World War I, there's this doctrine that come out is self-determination. That is the people of that country should choose what they want to be like, what country. Got it. Because they want to kaitkan with Malaysia and all that, so they got included. Anything not to do with Malaysia, they just cut off, basically. So self-determination, and Hitler used that to talk to the Western power. Hey, last time you say self-determination, now in this case self-determination come. So Austria, some of them are Germans actually, quite a number of them, because you see it's near each other only, so so they got Austria without dropping any casualty. Austria done. Second is Czechoslovakia. He used the same excuse again, But because Czechoslovakia is quite big, it's much bigger than Austria, he cannot claim the whole region. So basically only part of the region is claimed. And then you can see already advancing, right? Like, you know, he's advancing here, now here. So the Western power are quite worried, but they are not prepared to engage him militarily.
They haven't signed anything to say that Germany cannot take Austria or Czechoslovakia. They weren't there wasn't a treaty.
The Treaty of Versailles, basically that one. But he already brought that long time ago. So they actually came to negotiate with him. The Prime Minister of British, Neville Chamberlain, he actually flew to Munich to meet Hitler. You got picture later, I'll show you, they shake hands, hey, nice to meet you. And they pursue this policy called appeasement. They did not want to engage Hitler militarily, for the reasons that we already said earlier. And unfortunately, Hitler just played them out. He, in front of them, okay, good, no problem, deal, I will not invade. At the back, prepare military preparation, everything. And one more thing, the German army is actually very good. Maybe the best in the war.
They are the smallest army if you compare between the Allies and them, which is only them.
Yeah, one country only, fight against all the rest. And
well, they have Italy, but Italy
their
is
equipment, because Italy, don't start Italy teruk that one. Okay, Italy later. So that one, okay, why he's so good? I mean, why Hitler actually might be the reason why Germany lost the war. Actually, German army is very good. They have very good, outstanding generals. I will introduce one of them to you later. Quite handsome also.
He's dead.
If not dead, also so old, no? Okay, so basically, outstanding leaders, the most up-to-date technology, superior equipment, aircraft, everything, up until 1942 when British came out with their Spitfire and Hurricane. But at that time, because they focused on war economy, that's the only priority. So they focus everything on military. So that's why they're so good. And then military doctrine is very good. Unlike the French, I'll talk about later. Not only tactics and equipment, when your doctrine matters. What is your philosophy, your strategy? Okay, that's the wrong word, because actually German also lost because of strategy.
But that's basically just because of Hitler.
Yeah, they are good at in our class we define operation differently, tactics differently, strategy differently. Tactics is military tactics, how you conduct a battle. Strategy is your whole plan. Okay, I will invade Sabah first, then I will invade Sarawak, something like that. Tactic is okay. How am I gonna take Sabah? Slowly lah, yeah. Okay, so just to give you all a rough flow here before I go to the map. Austria will be taken, Czechoslovakia. Poland is the main one because the Allies said to them very clearly, don't stop there already. But they invade Poland, and this is the first full-flung battle. Okay, so that's the start of the war. So it's like Azaham said last time, he commented, it's not just like last time in Sejarah book, right? We said that the UK and all that were drawn into the battle into the war because perjanjian, alliance with Poland and all that. That is just partly small picture only actually. There's a very small picture only. If we reduce our history to that, it will not do justice to the whole thing. Can you imagine takkan I want to drag my whole nation into war just because I agree with someone that I will help him? No, it's much bigger than that because they know that they are moving. They are moving. If we don't stop them, it's over. So that's why lah. So Neville Chamberlain, I posted video/photo. This one you might be able to see. This is a very famous speech he gave. He returned from Munich after talking to Hitler, and I have signed a deal with him, and I believe this is peace for our time. And you all the paper, very iconic image. Of course, 1 year later, everything was in war lah. Actually, personally I feel history so far has not been fair to Chamberlain. Chamberlain was, in my opinion, he's a kind of gentleman, and he really believed in peace. He don't want people to die because of war unnecessarily. And then when they invaded France, I think Chamberlain actually offered to step down himself. He said because that time the parliament already very divided. what should we do? Okay, should we arm our army? Should we attack them? All that. Then because some people think, before the war, Chamberlain was actually nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. He was regarded as a hero, like during peacetime. And then because of this policy, like he tried to appease Hitler, but he failed. Like Hitler, then people angry lah. And then Churchill, this guy, very famous, right? Winston Churchill. Sam will teach you about it. So, Chamberlain offered to step down so that he said, we need someone who can unite the House. That means the Parliament. Someone that we are able to unite and rally behind him and take the United States. So he stepped down, and Churchill became the Prime Minister. Churchill is a very, they call him the British bulldog basically. War. Military guy, kind of thing.
Iron Curtain guy.
Yeah, Iron Curtain guy.
No, Iron Curtain is my Thatcher.
He also.
He also Iron Curtain.
Yeah, he's the one. Thatcher is later.
After the war.
He actually a very good writer also. He's a historian also, very accomplished. The funny thing for me is, when Germany invaded Norway, right, there was this big battle, and basically German gets Norway. They successfully conquered Norway, but at a huge cost. And when that happened, people blamed Chamberlain's government, and then after that, Chamberlain offered to step down. But actually, the person who is in charge of the British naval at that time, naval because Norway is a sea, right? So the person in charge at that time was actually Churchill. So it's very ironic why they should blame Chamberlain and give the power to Churchill when Churchill is actually the one who is in charge of the naval. It's one of the history thing, we want to consider someone completely good, someone completely bad. It's not really the case. So anyway, our guy here in Paris win already, so I take picture. You see here, actually this is my exam question. Why French fell in 6 weeks? So I don't have to write an essay for this one now. So basically I'll just tell you, I listed 3 factors I think. Personally, I feel military doctrinal, preparation I think, / training. And then also, tactics I think. So basically, France. So basically, right, after World War I, right, all the country, right, they also study World War I, so that how to prepare for next war. But some countries prepare more than others. Because, like French, they selectively pick what lesson they want to learn. So the generals may be quite proud of themselves. They just select examples that work for their doctrine, which is methodical method. Yeah. Methodical method is basically you defend yourself. Your people will not move much because France lose a lot of people in the World War I. So their doctrine would be do not move a lot, and then you will be on the defense. You take the enemy's blow, you absorb them, and then you counter them. Something like that, okay?
We also talk about the Maginot Line.
Yeah, so in accordance to that, right? So to defend, they have this thing called Maginot Line. You want to explain better than me, maybe?
Just basically like throughout its borders, France built like a couple of fortresses or like bunkers along its borders so that they could defend themselves, supposedly, which they did not.
I would like to think of it as a Great Wall. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Great Wall.
Great Wall of China.
Without the wall, just bunkers.
And with holes, they neglected the forest because they didn't think that German tanks could go through the forest. But in essence, they did.
Yeah, so that's very interesting actually, the tactics. Okay, so that's one. So their tactic was defensive, right? Methodical battle. German's tactic is brilliant, unfortunately. It's blitzkrieg. It's actually not coined by German themselves, it's coined by some journalists. Blitzkrieg basically means lightning war. Speed. So, okay, drama speed. So basically, speed. Like your army must move fast. Like you must settle the campaign very fast. If you draw out, they will not want to draw out the battle, prolong the battle. So as we said now, they have much better equipment. So they have this thing called Panzer, which is the tanks. Very good, very, very good.
Can't other countries stop their war, like economies of war, like after the World War I?
Why other countries don't?
Yeah.
Because they focus on a lot of other things like social policies, welfare.
Because they didn't think that the war would happen again so fast.
Yeah.
They didn't know the depression was going to happen.
Yeah, they have a lot of other things to think about, and then for Germany after Hitler focused on war economy, and the war economy 1933, right? So more than a decade, for that war economy to build up. So if other country want to start, then they cannot pick up immediately. They did pick up at the end, but then when the war started, Germany was much more well prepared than the other countries.
Yeah, because they were intending to invade, and everyone else was like, kind of like, are you going to invade? Are you really going to invade? Like, they're still on the fence.
But everyone else was still suffering from the depression. They were really beat up.
Okay, so I'll cut the invasion down to a few lines. So basically, like what Alex and Sam already hinted. So French and the British Army, they were expecting Germans to go through this boundary, so to speak, okay, border. So they constructed the defense around there, okay, the Maginot Line. Germany actually planned for that. This operation of France is called Four Gap, code name Four Gap. The original plan of Four Gap, actually, when the German plane fly over, was actually caught by Belgium troop, and the plan was revealed to the Allies. The Allies is the UK and all that. So they expected Germany to go there. At the last minute, there's this General Erich von Manstein. He proposed to Hitler another plan, and that second plan became the Four Gap, while the British and French were expecting the first one. Second one, while they were preparing their defense along this place, right? So what the German would do is they will actually go around it. Of course, they involve a very high risk, which is they're going to this Ardennes forest, which is they actually think is impenetrable. There's no way German, with all the tanks and everything, can go through it. But somehow they did, and they encircled them. So GG.
Because the tanks at the time, like during World War I, they had tanks, but they were like slow, big machines. And, like the German Panzer was just like a huge innovation. Like,
It's
it was fast,
like a 2-3 man tank.
It was very fast and just and still strong and steady. So
I mean, seriously, I'm also like speechless when I heard 6 weeks, 6 weeks French, a great power, a major power. 6 weeks, jatuh.
But you also have to say that they were decimated by World War I.
Yeah,
like,
true.
They lost so many people, like during the trench war. It's just ruining them.
And
What was the time gap between World War I and World War II?
World War I 1914 to 1918. World War II say to start 1939 lah.
20 years?
To like 45.
Huh? Oh yeah.
1995.
10 years gap.
So you have the depression in the 20s. So it's like the first decade of the 20th century is World War I, and then the second is the depression, and then the third is the World War II. So no one was expecting Germany to like fight again in like 20 years.
True. What else want to add about French? Second thing is military doctrine cover, right? Tactics also cover. So another thing is military combat experience. So French was totally not ready for battle. Like you said, they lost a lot of people. Secondly, the one who participated in World War I, too old. The one who haven't participated, youth, no experience. German, they just come out of Czechoslovakia, come out of Poland. And the teacher in my class, he actually said that makes a huge difference. He was in Iraq and all that. He said when new troops, no combat one, they go first time combat, really different from those who are experienced. Training, you know what to do and all that. It makes a huge difference, he said. I find it very true. If anything I do for the first time, I sure can't toy one. The second time, maybe better. So this one is actually in Poland. I just put a picture here. So I want to show you that even from Poland, the German already treated the people very badly. This is in Poland. And not only Jews, a lot of other people also, they treat very badly. They build all these camps, force them to work. One thing that you can notice about Germany and Japan, They conquer other places to sustain their own country's economy. If without it, they cannot function because the demands for what they are doing is very high and they need resources to sustain that thing. So other countries suffer, to provide luxury for them lah. Chinese people 知道借血水吗？
That's Mao Zedong.
This
That's the life one is Mao Zedong.
Who's that?
So this is Mao Zedong and this is Chiang Kai-shek.
He's the what?
Nationalist 国民党. So I actually feel bad as a Chinese. I don't know a lot of my history and all that, but I'm learning. Learning Mandarin sikit, learning about this one sikit, Zhou Enlai and Deng Xiaoping sikit tahu lah nama, boleh lah. Then this one are the two main figures lah. If you talk about China, right, at that period lah. Mao Zedong, of course, communist, later on become very, very, very famous. Chiang Kai-shek was known as the man who lost China. Like the nationalists are the one who the government of China. And after Japan invasion and after Mao Zedong rise, so they basically left with Taiwan. He ran away to Taiwan because they cannot beat the communists. So the communists take over the whole China, and they only have this one small island, Taiwan. So you now know why the Taiwan and China have very bad relations. One of the reasons is that of course, for other reasons it's very sad because Japanese occupation of China is very brutal, very, very brutal. It's also called as a second genocide. First genocide, Holocaust, right? Second genocide, this one. Rape of Nanking. If you all Google about it, rape of Nanking is really bad. Rape of Nanking. Rape like logo. Nanking is a province in China. So basically, yeah. So basically, when Japan invaded China and they enslaved and just shoot the men, children, women.
How many people died? It's like 5,000.
5,000? More, much more.
5,000 won't be called massacre.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to say, but I mean, and the women are all enslaved as prostitutes. A lot of them are. In fact, the foreign journalists at that place, they say every day there's this lorry that will come and pick up all the women. Just turn them into prostitute for the satisfaction. Yeah, comfort women.
The Japanese won't say prostitutes, they say comfort.
It's very sad because China might have stand a chance if not for the civil war that they had among themselves. Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong, nationalists and communists. It happens all the time. Look at Malay history. Why, I forgot what's the Pahang or whatever, Perak or whatever. Why British come? Because this prince fight with this prince invite British come. Same story and all over the world. Even in Palestine also got civil war among themselves. They cannot unite. It's very difficult to unite against Israel. Okay, whatever. Okay, so basically Japan, very small country, but it's like German, much better military preparation, much better doctrine. Kamikaze, they are very, 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 very dogmatic one. In fact, actually, I read that some of the soldiers actually think that the emperor is
down, right?
Huh?
Tak jatuh lagi.
Tak apa?
Tak mati.
The emperor? No, got emperor some more. I mean, he got still got emperor that time. Japanese emperor. And then some of the people actually think that, some of the soldiers think that the emperor is something like God, something God. And totally die for king and country. In fact, actually, the internal elites the emperor is like puppet only, They actually, I was shocked also. I thought, maybe Japanese people are very loyal, but actually, the top generals and all that, there's a lot of political move behind the scenes, like prime minister gonna assassinated and all that. I mean, I was quite shocked when I read about it. It's not just one united Japan. Throughout this year, the liberals one, they were just assassinated or kicked out of office. And you only have the right wing one, the very, very radical one, extremist in power. Imperial Japan, basically. So they managed to invade. They invaded China on the pretext of fabricated terrorism. Same thing like Hitler. So there was this attack, I think in Manchuria or one province in China, and then Japanese used that excuse to invade China. In fact, actually, they are the one who do it lah. Actually, they just want an excuse to invade, and they just go straight because the Chinese simply couldn't stop them. But there's this one quote by Mao Zedong, which is, this is not the quote by Mao Zedong, but then Mao Zedong got some quote also about some water, and like China is this jar of water, and Japan is trying to fill it with one pint of liquid. Can translate it into saying this that Japan won the war, but they cannot end it. China is so big that Japan, like 60% of the population of China at that time remained outside of Japanese occupation. That's so big, right? So people can run, and all that. And also because of this, actually, like Japanese army, a lot of them are tied down in China. Like because you conquer this region, right? You cannot left it, So your army is there, So they cannot mobilize it further. So of course, some of them go to Southeast Asia, and some of them go prepare the war against America. But a lot of resources actually wasted in China. Another reason the main reason why China invaded China was actually for the resources. Japan was badly hit by the Great Depression also. Their economy was devastated, and they want China's resources. I think I'll just skip this one this time. Basically, this is FDR Franklin Theodore Roosevelt, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt is another president. The one on the horse one, the environmental one.
Progressive.
So I have the tendency to think that US did not involve until Pearl Harbor, right? But actually I was mistaken. Actually, US have been very active supporting the West throughout this. They have this land lease program whereby they actually give a lot of military support, aid to the funding to the Western power. They just did not participate directly in the war only because Congress not allow it. But this guy, the president here, he already expected that we would eventually participate. And way before that, right, way before Pearl Harbor, Japan and US actually had very long years. Like Japan and US actually have very long years talking about how they're gonna attack each other. A lot of strategies involved It's a very long process. They already planned everything. In fact, US say later on, there's nothing that surprised them in the Japanese tactic except the kamikaze. They come in and just die. Graphic images ahead. So if you cannot see, then don't see It's about Japan occupation of China. So this is the Japan propaganda. Asia for Asians, Asians for Asia. So they'll help deliberate kick off the Western power. But actually, they will become much more brutal, imperialist. This is the rape of Nanking. This is bodies of children. This is women. This rape and torture. You can Google if you want. Okay, so this is the last part. This is the third part, right? So we cover operation, we cover background. This is the last part, Barbarossa. I think we are quite tired already.
Okay.
So I'll go through this fast since I think we are all quite tired and a lot of information you all need to walk down. So basically, this is Joseph Stalin. As you can see from this propaganda, he's a very grandfatherly figure, very nice and all that. But actually, he is as, if not more, brutal than Hitler. He treats his own people very, very bad. But Operation Barbarossa, as I said just now, is a code name for the military operation. It's in fact the largest military operation in history, involving 4 million exist soldiers invade Russia. And Russia has so many people. If you see the map, it's so big, right? So that's why one does not simply invade Russia. Every time I think in history, everyone he also at the end KO. You want to invade Russia? Really, think twice. three times. So okay, this is the German strategy You go here, go here, go here. Go here, here, and then two. You see, it's concentrated. You go two way, but then at the end you merge, right? Middle of the way, Hitler go change the plan lah. He go, okay, wait, I want to go. Yeah, he want to go Ukraine pula. Orang fokus nak Moscow end the war quickly, seize the political capital.
Conquered Russia, but he just waited too long.
Yeah.
Waited until winter came and then
That was it.
Russia is very strong during winter.
no, because it's so cold.
It's so cold.
Oh, Russia is very
so much
strong.
of the German army died because of cold.
Like even during Napoleonic Wars, Napoleon tried to invade Russia as well.
Died in cold.
That winter came also, and then it's just
That's no until here.
Susah, Russia so big, you have to very long campaign,
But then
and then
it wasn't
winter
just the
will come.
winter warfare.
yeah, like it's like the same both during those both two wars is because they did not plan for winter war. Like the original plan was just to
Finish
it before winter, and then everything would be fine. But then both those wars they dragged until winter, and then the Russians came back and just.
But for the Russians part, it wasn't just winter. The Stalingrad and Leningrad, their
Russians,
defense
a lot
was.
of people died. Like the Russians, they were
5-8 million.
they were fucked.
In this operation alone, 5-8 million. Not after this got more better,
Leningrad, Stalingrad.
Stalingrad and all that. Okay, so before we go here, that so far you're okay Is it too dry or anything?
No, it's
Okay
Yeah,
Okay, so
They're more exciting. They don't have enough guns, right? So like they just wait for the friends to die.
so main lesson, one does not simply invade.
You cannot retreat. If you retreat, your own guys will shoot you.
So how should I go through this? Okay. Personally, I feel this is where World War II is decided lah. Like once they fail this mission, Barbarossa, it resulted in a two-front war. Russia on one side, like Germany is middle, right? East you have Russia coming to you, and then west you have Britain and US forces, the combined one enter you. So they are coming both way. In the end, of course, the Red Army reached first, and they go to Berlin, and they found Hitler dead lah.
Hitler's body never found.
Burnt.
It burned.
Yeah, he committed suicide, and he asked his follower to burn it with his wife. And the Right Army actually tested the identity just by the single teeth, I think, that remained from that body. Of course, there's some conspiracy theories that he ran away, he survived, ended up in Brazil and all that. Recently, got one book came out about it. But as I said just now, balance of probability. The evidence that we have as of now leans to the fact that he committed suicide at that time.
Not gonna talk about conspiracies.
Okay, so two main reasons, right, I think, why they fail. One is serious logistic issue, and one is winter problems. They already said negative 45 Fahrenheit. That's like freaking crazy, right? And so 1939 September is Poland, May 1940 is France, June 1941 is Barbarossa. So it's keep going, And June started. They planned to end the war 4 months, maximum 4 months. End it before winter. Of course, it ended up until way December and next year, and they still fail. And since they did not plan for winter, they did not have the equipment. And because Russia is so big, Stalin was actually very dumb military man lah. He don't know anything lah. So, but he's a very brilliant general, Georgy Zhukov. I'll introduce you to him later. And this general's tactic is that you should let German come in, draw them in. Okay, because Russia is so big, you draw them in, they come deeper, and their supply line will be left behind. Yes, and then when the supply line is coming in, right, you should cut them off. So these people have no supplies, which actually happened lah. A lot of people just die out of frostbite. That it's really bad lah, really bad. And being the Russian that they are skilled in winter warfare. And vodka. Okay, actually, Hitler and the Nazis are not completely wrong in underestimating the Russians. Why they underestimate the Russians is why, before this, maybe 1939 or something, the Russians actually tried to invade Finland. Finland is also winter thing, right? Winter thing, winter country kind of thing. And guess what? The first invasion actually failed. Then Hitler actually laughed lah. What lah, Finland also cannot conquer. Hey, now I come, you sure? But the fact that he don't have is that Stalin, being the dumb general that he is, he just simply sent people to invade Finland. There is actually unprepared army against a very well prepared winter soldiers in Finland. And second army he sent is a better one, and then they succeed lah. But Hitler actually take experience from that lah. He think that Finland also they cannot conquer in first part, we sure can beat them. But he did not see the best of the Red Army yet lah. Stalin meanwhile actually think that Hitler will not invade them, or at least he invade, we can fight him. Stalin also underestimated Hitler a lot lah. And okay, tak perlulah banyak-banyak tu. Okay, so basically I talked to you about Kiev, right? So instead of seizing Moscow immediately, Hitler wanted to go to Ukraine, Kiev, because of the resources there. The generals disagree furiously with him. Said if you need to end this quickly, if not, they said no, our economy need these resources. And being the Hitler, of course, you have to follow him, or else your head is on the floor. And so you split your force, so you split your force. When you split your force, the remainder force will be weaker, right? And then the weaker force actually took more time to reach Moscow. Firstly, because they have less men already. Secondly, they did not expect the Russians to be so good at resistance. Actually, Stalin himself was surprised. Stalin's first strategy is he will put the best, I think, the army at the front one, the frontier. He did not expect that the German army, being the blitzkrieg that they are, they actually just mati je lah yang tu kan. They will just go through it and then they just come very quickly. But because of the Germans, Nazi, they're very brutal to the people they occupied. It turned the Russians, ordinary civilians, against them. And it uplifted the morale of the Russian soldier. In the sense that because they are so brutal to you, you want to fight them, you want to fight them. Because Nazi think that they are subhuman, right? In fact, actually my professor said that if Hitler had been a different kind of, liberator, he come to the Russia as liberator, he might have actually win. Because the ordinary population actually hates Stalin. Stalin was very cruel. Oh, I did not talk about the Great Purge, right? Yeah. So basically what Stalin did right before World War II, right? There's this Great Purge that I talked to you about. Not talk to you, I talk to you anyway. So he firstly political purge, 1930 something, political purge. He get rid of all his political enemies. Second one is the army purge, military purge. He basically just ordered, kill or sent to detention camp, Gulag, Gulag, you can Google it. All those military senior leaders that he think that might plot an attempt or might be a dangerous threat to him, right? So he just get rid of them. There's also one reason why Russians suffered so badly at the first phase of war, because all their best leaders all gone, except for a few lah. Zhukov is one of them. So anyway, they did reach Moscow, but they did not manage to conquer it lah. And then this for me is the decisive one lah. Although people think it's Battle of Stalingrad, but for me this, because Battle of Moscow is the first time German army actually, failed. Like they failed the mission and they have to retreat, go back. And from there on, no point back lah. After they have to retreat, right? Go there. Stalingrad also they fail. This is Battle of Stalingrad is recorded as the most bloodiest battle in history. A lot of people die and all that. But brave lah. The soldiers on both sides is very brave lah. Like I read some story like we should not retreat 1 inch further. There's no land back here. Go charge. Like, very very brave. Sometimes it's very sad. Like you see the ordinary people they fight so hard and all that, but it's just the top people who are screwing up and all that. There's this quote about about the Soviets. Might be a good time to end. Like basically the German generals we did not expect the Soviets to be so we have completely underestimated the Soviet resistance and their size and capacity. Whenever we take down a dozen battalion, they will simply construct another battalion. Germans are good, much better than the Soviet army. But when they kick out 10,000 people, Russia will simply come up with another 10,000 people. So that is really demoralizing for Germans. Casualties in this operation Barbarossa alone, this one operation only, 5 to 8 million Russians actually died. Military only. As I said, it resulted in 2 front wars that Germany could never win. And then to add misery to add insult to the misery, Hitler actually declared war on US after Pearl Harbor. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Britain you cannot finish off. Yeah, I didn't tell you all about that. Actually, after they win France already, right, they want to finish off Britain, but they did not finish it off.
They just strikes.
It's a Air Force thing. It's the first Air Force battle. It's an art.
Siege Britain and just
bomb as many things as they can.
So Germany Air Force is Luftwaffe and British Air Force is Royal Air Force. Initially they actually planned to invade, but then you tell her. No.
I don't know now.
No. I also don't know. I just read that, but the rough plot is that they actually planned, but then when the first Luftwaffe go to Britain, right, the Royal Army, the Royal Air Force were actually quite strong because they did not expect them to be so good. So they had to turn back, or some of them got killed. And then after that, Hitler suspended the operation because he wanted to focus on Barbarossa. It happened at the same time. So that's why Hitler said, okay, we are not going to invade Britain, but we just continue bombing the area. So Britain was
like every night, bombers would fly over, no target, just drop bombs as wherever they can. Yeah. It's like, keep coming, carry on, get in your bunker, wait for it to stop, wait for the thunders to stop, then go on and carry on with your life.
There's one thing that this book said, German Air Force actually has this technology, blind something like, so the soldier can almost accurately bomb the area. But the Royal Air Force, right, the British one, they actually crack German code, so they know where they're gonna hit, and they have radar. They develop a radar system, Ultra.
That encryption that the German use.
I don't know the encryption German use, but I know that British and US, all that, they have this intelligence. They break down the codes. They call it Ultra. That one is quite decisive. One of the most decisive development why German lost, because most of the message that Germans send, they actually can break the code. They know what they are doing already. Okay, so.
And even before Pearl Harbor, US Navy and Air Force were supporting Britain with their planes.
Yeah.
The blockades in the Atlantic, but then also their Air Force was supporting the war, dogfights over the Atlantic.
So, although we will not be discussing what happened after 1941, 1942, maybe if maybe you have other time on it, but today not. But then it can be almost certainly be said, once you have 2 front war from east and west, basically it's checkmate.
It kind of became a 3-front war because the UK came up from Africa.
Ethiopia.
Mongolia came up from Africa through Italy, and then.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't I mean, I should have talked to you all about the Africa but I don't have time. So, yeah. Basically Italian also but then Italian basically.
Italians.
So as I said, promised earlier, these are the 2 handsome men that you all should know. 2 of the most outstanding generals in World War II. Really? You look at this one? So this man is Erwin Rommel. He is one of the top generals. They call him the Desert Fox. He was in Africa and he very outstanding general. My professor also say, although he's from German, right? And then from what I read, he was one of those involved in that planning assassination of Hitler, and the assassination failed. And Hitler find out, they could not kill him publicly, sentence him to death or something, because he's actually well respected. And if people find out that even Rommel would turn against Hitler, it will be very bad, right? So Hitler offered him a choice. I'll give you a pill, you commit suicide, and I'll spare your family, which he did. Although he's German Nazi team, but from what I read, I don't know, but from what I read, he actually ignored the comments to kill the Jews and all that. He when he was in Africa, he was sent to Africa. I mean, he was involved in the Battle Atlantic too, but one of the major things he was known for is in his role in Africa. His team was not known for any gross violation of human rights and all that, which is quite rare, German. And this is Zhukov, not very handsome, but the badges are quite nice, and maybe you can say he's the one who really contributed a lot to the Russian success in the war. Stalin kan nak harap memang tak boleh.
Explain all the badges.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we have time for this I'll just.
I forgot for time.
Sure not? Okay lah.
Chill.
Sure. Okay. So you're interested, maybe this part interests you, right? Your own country mah. Negaraku. So it's actually quite interesting to know that our region is actually is where the greatest defeat in military for British military history happened. So that is actually it actually happened in Singapore but I think Malaysia also got contributed involved So because that is the British base
The thing about that was the British weren't really trying to win.
I mean they did try actually. They tried very hard.
They could not get help from Britain because it's so far away.
The rest of Britain wanted to focus on Europe.
Yeah.
Australia was down there, and they were also helping Great Britain fight the war up there. So basically, they had no one.
They took troops from India, Australia, everything went to Europe.
Yeah,
Britain wasn't trying to defend anywhere in Asia.
It was more important than their colony. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah. This is from Churchill actually. Churchill was quite angry at the time when he heard that the fall of Singapore, right? But they have quite a good general there also, Percival, and the most important thing that come out from that is the British right to rule in Asia vanished forever. Because as you all know in sejarah, right? Because they see, orang putih can be defeated one. I didn't know before. Okay lah. After this we also try lah. Yeah, I mean, when the British come back, they actually find a strong nationalist movement. Not very strong compared to other countries, of course.
Not radical.
But they're still in there lah. The people want independence already. So it's a huge change, basically. One of the things I want to talk about is actually when Japanese invaded Malaya, right? It has some effect that can be seen even until today. I feel sometimes, like it actually worsened the ethnic relations, especially among Malay Chinese, because Chinese and Japanese do not get along. Well, I like Naruto, so okay lah maybe. But basically, I just want to tell you that they have a long history. At that time, even until now today, you know why? Because Japanese never apologized for what they did in the World War.
It's not just China, Korea also hates Japan.
Korea, China. So, bad blood with the Japanese, even until today. That time even worse.
It's basically just mainland Chinese, mostly the parts that were
conquered.
Yeah. That had those huge massacres, and then South Korea. But other places like Taiwan and even Malaysia, people don't really care that much about that anymore, because after World War II and after Japan rose up as the second world biggest economy, they helped a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, and that kind of helped mediated their relationship.
Yeah. But I think what he's trying to say is that Japanese occupation fueled racial tension in Malaysia itself was true, because the persecution of the Chinese people,
and as textbooks also say, right, some of the Malays were helping the Japanese because they wanted the liberation, but they were kind of tricked into doing that.
And then when the war was over, the retaliation through communism, it was also very brutal, which pissed off front and back, but it did do a lot to fuel the tension.
Another reason why Japanese are relatively good to the Malays lah. It's because they hope that they can rely on the Malays to administrate at least a bit, to help them administrate, because it'll be easier for the Malays to locally govern the people, something like puppet lah, so to speak. But to be fair, actually, like Alex says also, initially they are willing to cooperate, but at the end the Malays did find out these people have no intention to liberate us lah. So you have all this, what is it, Force 136? Or sejarah one come out, forgot already. So basically they also form their own resistance lah. And I mean, as Alex has started to talk about just now, this is also why Party Communist Malaya are so radical. Based on what happened in Japanese occupation, very brutal. So they become very radicalized. Chin Peng was actually a very extraordinary human. I mean, I might get into ISA, but why I say that is because he actually 23 years old. At 23 years old, I'm 22 this year. At 23 years old, he actually led the PKM resistance. He became Secretary General to fight against the Japanese. And when the Japanese lost, like World War II, of course we did not defeat them, but someone else did. Chin Peng was awarded the medal from the Queen, like the British awarded him a medal, for his bravery and stuff lah. Then so he was and then when he found out that British actually planning to return, he continued to his guerrilla resistance lah, instead of like lay down his arms, right, because he found out the British returning, and he became very radical lah. I mean, but it's very sad that he and Tunku Abdul Rahman did not work out their agreement in Bali. Some of you, I think most of you already know already, they actually have a meeting in Bali. Tunku offered him, lay down your weapon, we would like armed treaties, arms treaty, lay down your weapon, should be fine. Chin Peng's demand was we want to contest in election as a legal political party, and Tunku did not allow that lah. Maybe because of external influence, which is perfectly understandable, because at that time there's this domino theory for communism, and people are very worried about that. If one country got communist influence, other country might follow. That time you remember Vietnam, communist also, until today also is, and Indonesia also got communist party, which is very brutally wiped out at the end. So it's one of the things in history. And figure back the PKM. So until today, I mean, history is something that we should never be able to judge in good and bad lah. There's a lot of things that people do in their circumstances. I want to say something about this one, but I forgot already. But never mind lah. So Thailand actually very interesting. Thailand never colonized one.
They always say we give you way.
Actually, last time I read more about Western thing, but then recently I've been able to appreciate more. Actually, I think Asians, we do have very outstanding leaders and all that. It's just that we don't write about them, so people don't know about them. Maybe because we don't read also lah. I think maybe that's why. But
because we don't write about them in the Western context.
I mean, Thailand still very, very outstanding leaders. They know their diplomatic skill, negotiation skill is very good. I mean, can you imagine negotiate with the Japanese? It's so tough, man. I mean, for me, in my opinion,
Imagine even Roosevelt failed.
But they provided a lot of resources to Japan. That's why they weren't.
And then you know what? When the British came back, right? This guy managed to explain to the British we are forced to do that, then don't blame us, anything. British actually agree, It's kind of funny, Switzerland, kind of. Unfortunately, Thailand today is very unstable, because of the thing. So that one another thing, Lastly is Indonesia. Japanese targeted them for their resources, They need the resources, and one of the things that I see, the immediate effects of Japanese occupation is when Japanese came, they actually released the prisoners that the Dutch, which is the colonizer, detained when they were in power, such as Sukarno. Of course, Sukarno soon realized that Japanese also had no intention to liberate them, and then there was this long history, Maybe you can.
Sukarno and Tata, I guess in the 20s actually, they saw the rise of the Japanese invasion of Southeast Asia. again, the liberation from the Dutch, they saw that as an opportunity. And then, of course, the Japs like invaded all the way down to Southeast Asia because, they're resource poor, right? And then the U.S. actually like placed an embargo on them, and they're basically relegated to having just enough oil and lumber to last for 1.5 years. So that's why they went to China, they went down to Southeast Asia, they wanted Indonesia's oil, they wanted Indonesia's rubber plantation, because at that point in time, we were the fourth largest exporting oil country. And so that's why they wanted Indonesia's resources. The Japanese actually trained a lot of the Indonesians in warfare and combat to fight the Dutch, which eventually did come to fruition.
Oh yeah. So after Japanese left, because of what happened during the occupation, it was it was pretty a long fight, right? Indonesian and the Dutch. So one thing that we learned about in our Southeast Asia class is that this war thing actually explains a lot about how the political system works. If you notice, like Thailand, Indonesia, maybe Vietnam a bit, although they are one party only, and Burma. So all these, their politics, right? The army has a heavy influence. Do you know this? So army can simply come in and cook, all that. They have a lot of power. But you see in Malaysia, not so, right? One of the reasons being proposed is that because in their fight to independence, this country had to put up a military resistance. So after independence, the army also is very powerful. Compared to Malaysia, it's a negotiation process. And then our army was no army, Commonwealth army. So I mean, you get what I mean, not to ridicule anything, but then our army is not present strong in politics, because the path to independence is very different compared to the brutal fight, Burma, British, Indonesian, Dutch, and Vietnam lagi teruk America and all that. One note about that, right, is that okay, never mind, later do politics, never mind. Okay, so if we get to here, it'll be quite amazing. We take how long already? I think we take 100 minutes. Okay, not bad. So, is there any final thoughts or question? I'm quite sorry actually. This sounds like a lecture instead of a. Usually Kopitiam talk we have I talk 20 minutes and then we all talk. But this one is more of a historical thing, which is long topic. Any final thoughts? Apa nak tanya ke, nak komen ke?
When you decided to talk about history, right? Many people come.
What?
When we decided to do talk.
Oh, okay. Yang topik ni lah banyak orang datang lah. Okay. Boleh.
Orang suka sejarah.
Wow, bagus lah. I thought people don't like sejarah.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised that they come.
So you want to do another session for Pacific War and all that?
Can, but that one later maybe not so
Because
soon.
that's my favorite part of World War II Pacific.
You Pearl Harbor lah, you.
Pearl Harbor, I don't know. I just love how the Japanese.
Yeah.
They were brutal, but they were bloody smart.
Yeah, militarily speaking.
Strategically speaking,
Yeah.
strategically good.
I feel like the exhibition one back last time. The one, wow, a lot of us like.
I thought Cindy posted something about the government wanting us to write up a policy.
Stop. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna write?